Hello and welcome back to another Understand Your Buyer video. In this video, we're looking at the notion of perceived uniqueness. So what is it? Well, some buyers, unfortunately, think that their problems are so unique and so difficult that you can't help them, even when you probably can. And they might feel this way because they've been dealing with the problem for a while. They may have had failed attempts at trying to solve it in other ways or whatever, but it's a bit overwhelming. So they feel like you can't help them. They're a special snowflake. They're completely unique. Oh, you've never met anybody like me with my problem. You can't help me. And then they preclude themselves from buying from you because they don't think that you can help. So how does this work? Well, you can lose the sale to people who perceive themselves unique and special and that you can't help them. So you've really got to be clear about what you can and can't do in your messaging. So if somebody's tried to solve an issue and it's got worse, and if they spent time and money but they haven't moved forwards, then they're going to be naturally skeptical about trying other solutions. They're going to feel that somehow they're beyond help, or they lose faith that it's actually solvable. And this happens to lots and lots of buyers, and they become increasingly desperate because they haven't solved the problem. It persists. So how do we stop this? How do we stop losing this sale? How do we stop people precluding themselves from dealing with us because they perceive themselves to be unique? Well, to overcome the issue, a couple of things we need to do. We've got to be clear in our messaging, and there's 5 things that we can really focus on. That's a lot more than 5, but 5 basic things we can begin with. The first one is who you work with. So your avatar, be as descriptive as possible. So we work with B2B founders with a hard to explain offering who have been struggling for years to explain what they do. So you could literally talk about the actual parameters of time, because time's one of the biggest factors here. They've tried lots of things, etc. That's the first one, who you work with. Second one is the problem you solve. So we can go really deep on that. So this is the problem we solve. This is what causes it. This is what happens if it gets worse. And even if you've tried all these things and blah, 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 we can still help you. So who you work with, the problem you solve. The next one is how your solution differs from alternatives that they've probably tried. So I know you've tried to do this yourself and this probably happened. I know you've paid a cheaper person to do it and this has happened. We know that you've struggled with this and that's happened. So by talking about the lived experience of these people and what they've probably tried and already failed at, that's going to tell them that they're not as unique as they think they are, but more importantly, you can actually help them. The final thing you can do is to produce a shareable FAQ, frequently asked questions, where you can cover all sorts of questions in a lot more detail. We've had this issue for a long time. Can we still solve it? We've tried all these things. How do we know you can help us? Blah, blah, blah. We can really get into the details. And when I say shareable FAQ, shareable frequently asked questions, there's a little hack where if you put your FAQ into a Google Doc or a Word doc, not necessarily just on your website, it's a lower pressure environment for people to read the questions. They feel less pressured, and from experience, it's just more conducive to them actually clicking through and finding the answers that they need. So that's perceived uniqueness. Some buyers may think incorrectly that their situation is so unique or so bad that you can't actually help them when you can. Well, that's it for another Understand Your Buyer video. And if you like this kind of stuff, then you'll definitely like the book, which you can buy at understandyourbuyer.com.